wrap up. Is that okay?
Yeah, wonderful. Cool.
Great. Okay, so welcome, Gaubi, and thank you very much for joining us on CQN tonight. Can you tell me just a wee bit about who you are and where you come from? Because you're slightly different from the others who are doing the Road to Seville cycle.
Yes, thank you for having me. My name is Gaubi Byers, turning 50 years this year in August, father of 2 kids. I have a girlfriend who lives, we do not live together, we live apart, but we see each other very often. In daily life, I give application support for a big logistics company, Seville Logistics. Lots of computers and stuff, but yeah, and warehousing. So that's my what I do during daytime, and then at night I listen to music. I sit on my bike. I watch football. Yeah, read about Celtic on Twitter and social media, and that's who I am. I live, like I said, I'm not sure if I said it. I live down south near Eindhoven. I grew up in the south playing football, always outside. Then I started supporting the local team, PSV Eindhoven. Became a season ticket holder. Went to away matches, everything. So I was really into Dutch football. I think in 1998, 99, I think, a friend of mine, he asked me on a Sunday to come over to O'Shea's Irish pub over in Eindhoven to watch Old Firm. That's how they called it then. Old Firm match. So we went there. It was like 1 o'clock, and we opened the doors, and the pub was packed with green and white Celtic supporters and a few Rangers supporters as well. So I thought, oh, this is nice. So we had a few drinks. The game started. They started singing, and although there were a couple of Dutch players playing for Rangers, Arthur Newman, he played for PSV as well. So I knew those players, but because my friend was a Celtic supporter, and the rest of the pub as well, I had a good feeling with the green and white stuff. So I thought, okay, this was a really nice day, and I said, okay, we can do this again maybe next time. So we went 3 or 4 times, and then the feeling grew for Celtic. I started following them via, is it CFAX over there, teletext? Yeah. So I started following their results and stuff. So I thought, well, yeah, they're doing well. I'm not sure if they won the championship that year. It doesn't matter. But I started following them a little bit more. Then in, I believe it was 2002, my then girlfriend, she took me to Celtic Park for the opening match against Dunfermline in August. It's the first time I've ever been to a Celtic Park. It was totally different from the atmosphere and experience in Holland. It was, I also already read a little bit about Celtic and the club and the way, the support. It was such an amazing weekend, and ever since I started noticing that the feeling for PSV started going down, and there were all of a sudden there was this this green and white stuff. It was really it really took me. And then once you've been there and you start to know the club and what it stands for and the support, and not only the football but also the sport and how people connect. And it's hard to explain to Dutch people, but you have to witness it. And it really took me. And ever since I've been I can't say that I'm going 3-4 times a year because it's a very expensive trip to come over. I've been like, I think 10 times, and the matches became bigger and bigger. It was Aberdeen, then against Rangers, then a cup final. Went to Barcelona, of course the Ajax matches. Last year I went to Leverkusen with my nephew. So it's I try to go as much as I can. Last February we went to the Aberdeen match because we, as a cycling group, we had the kickoff for charity. So it was a nice, good opportunity to go to the stadium again. And so every time I turned around the corner, I see Celtic Park. It says, it's good to be back. So it's like I said, it's really hard to explain to Dutch people because they say Celtic and it's a Mickey Mouse competition. There's only 2 teams or 1 team competing. But no. it really gets me every time. So
it's a great story, and I had no idea. Honestly, I had no idea that's how you get hooked into it in an Irish pub in Eindhoven. It's a fantastic story, and well done to that ex-girlfriend that took you over 20 years ago.
It's like I said, I believe Henrik. That's also what I tell to Dutch people. Henrik Larsson was once here with the Swedish team he played for. They were playing PSV in the UEFA Cup.
Right.
So my brother said, "Why don't we go to the training and maybe we can catch Larsson? He can get an autograph." But we were too late, so we went to their hotel, and there was like 25 Celtic supporters waiting for Henrik Larsson in the middle of Eindhoven. I said to my brother, "Can you imagine that happening in Glasgow when PSV is visiting? It's everywhere you go. It's always green and white and hoops and When we were abroad, I always go to Celtic bars when the match is on. And always 20 people watching Celtic. It's a community. It's great to be part of. Yeah.
It is, and it's funny how you speak about the Dutch people, thinking, well, it's a 2-horse league or maybe a 1-horse league, and there's no arguing about that. It is, I would more than argue that it is a 1-horse league, not even a 2-horse league. But when that 1 horse is important enough, it counts, and you don't need 15 clubs. You don't need 3 clubs. You need 1 club, as long as that club is important enough, and you build that relationship with it, and it's oozing out of you. It's great to see that. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So you're about to go on a cycle. Tell me, what's your cycling heritage? Have you always been a cyclist?
I think I played football until my 25th, and then I stopped for a while. I've picked that up now that I'm playing with the veterans. I'm not sure what it's called in the UK, 35 plus age, but it's 11 again. Yeah, it's pretty decent level. But from my 25th, I started doing more cycling. A friend of mine, and he said, "Let's go to the Alps to do Alpe d'Huez." I'm not sure if you heard about that. So because of it's a famous Dutch mountain in France, which you do in the Tour de France. But because of my fitness level, because of the football, I was able to get to the top. I'm no natural climber. I'm too heavy for that. But I really enjoy sitting on my bike, enjoying the scenery and the stuff outside. So I said, "Oh, this is very nice." So from that moment onwards, we try to go to the Alps or the Pyrenees and take the bike, also hiking, but biking is the main part of that as well. And we did quite some, because Holland is flat. There's hardly any mountains, so it's very hard for me also to train. But every time I get to Belgium, or if I see a little bit of a hill, I become enthusiastic. And like I said, I'm not the biggest climber, but I really enjoy it. So that's.
Well, that's great stuff. And tell me, so the many of the team that are doing the road to Seville did the road to Lisbon 5 years ago and planned the road to Milan 3 years ago. Were you involved in any of those events?
Yeah, I went on the road to Lisbon. It was
right.
We a year before the start, I read on Twitter that they were looking for cyclists. Celtic-minded cyclists. I said, this might be interesting. So I got in touch with Paul Muldoon, and started training, started getting enthusiastic. And once we left Celtic Park. It was an amazing, once in a lifetime experience on a bike. That 30 different people. I didn't know any of them, all different nationalities, backgrounds. But once you're on a daily basis sitting on a saddle and you share stuff. The first day it's chit chat, but as the days progress, you get more. The talk is more intense and stuff. We made some really good friends there, and we kept in touch. I also was on the list to do Milan. COVID made an end to that, but I was involved in that as well. And now we're doing Seville. So trying to train as much as possible. The weather has not been that good, so I'm doing a lot of training on the turbo bike inside.
Right.
And yeah, hopefully the spring will start soon, so I can go outside and do some longer runs, because it's 1.5 hours, and that's not enough to do Seville.
No, of course not. And so you'll be cycling every day for the best part of 2 weeks, and what, about 8 hours a day or so? Is that right?
6, 7. Yeah, it's like yeah. I normally do it in kilometers, so it's like 140 kilometers average. At an average cruising speed of 20-22, so it's like 7 hours of cycling, but you also have to stop. The people that support us, Green Rock, they have 2 or 3 places where we get lunch and get a break and etc. And they follow us along the route. So yeah, normally it takes, I think, 8 hours, 8.5 hours from hotel to hotel, and then we settle, and we try to get some food in and get some decent sleep, maybe some pints as well. But it's not competitive. We really try to enjoy it. We're not pro cyclists. We're not. It's not about average speed. Just getting there with the 30 of us. That's the main thing. And that's that was the also in Lisbon. We did it as a group. It was not about me. It was about us, and that was really nice.
Of course. It sounds enormously daunting. You're the first one I've spoken to who's mentioned cycling in mountains. Everybody else is dealing with the hills and slopes round about here, or on one occasion in Spain, but nobody's mentioned actually out there cycling in mountains. So my expectation is that you're going to cope with it okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I have experience from Lisbon, so I know what I can expect, but yeah, there's still plenty of training to do the next few weeks. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Good. So the one of the things that us Scottish-based Celtic fans grew up with is our origin story. Where the club came from, and that origin story, like the club itself, is handed on through the generations. You were plunged into Celtic 20 years ago, and I'm assuming you would have known nothing about the origin story of the club, or its charitable foundations, or even the likes of what is now the Celtic Foundation. What was your introduction to the foundation?
At first, on the internet, on Twitter, you read about stuff, and then I must admit that once we got involved with Lisbon, the cycle to Lisbon, we had 3 different charities, one being Celtic Foundation, and then you start reading into what they do and start following them on Twitter as well, and you see the beautiful things they do, the projects they run, and the amount of money that's being raised by the whole community, and it gets spent, given back to the community, the less how do you call it? The less fortunate. I'm not sure how to call it. It's really good, and when you see the number, the amount of we raise for Lisbon, for example, it's unreal. The people they come together, from everywhere, and they all join in to take part, but also try to organize stuff. It's really good to see.
It is, and it's. Speaking to the likes of yourself and the others who are doing this cycle to Seville, it's quite inspiring to all of us, especially somebody who's just parachuted into the club almost by accident, and all of a sudden you're out there cycling 1,000 miles or 1,000 kilometers, I beg your pardon, whichever one it is, to raise money for a Celtic Foundation. It is actually really quite inspiring. And do you have any financial targets? I mean, is this something that you're doing online, that you're trying to raise money online, or are you pestering your friends and relatives in the Netherlands?
Yeah, I've also already reached out to my friends, of course. I'm also keeping a blog, which I did the same on my road to Lisbon, just to get people involved more, and also to let them know how I get on, and as a little bit of a thank you. This is what's happening. This is where I am, and I'm trying to get to Lisbon. And thank you for your donations. I also, I'm not, I managed to get hold of a cycling jersey from Wout van Aert, a very well-known Belgium cyclist. He signed the shirt. It's an official shirt, and we're going to try to raise some money auctioning that, so that will be good. And I've not really set up a target because it's for Dutch people, like I said, it's for Dutch people, it's still a Scottish charity, although I try to tell the story and what they do, and it's not only Scotland, but it's Ireland, international, COVID. It's the foundation does a lot more than that. My dad last weekend asked me, "Can you tell me a little bit more?" So I said, I wasn't aware. I thought it was only Glasgow and surrounding. So he said, "Oh, that's good to know." He'll make sure to donate as well. And I think I'm now have like 750 euros raised so far, so I'm hoping to do a little bit more. So it's good. People are enthusiastic, and telling the story makes them enthusiastic. It's nice.
That's an excellent start. I didn't realise you're actually got underway already. And in terms of what you're putting into it, though, it must involve a lot of personal sacrifices, and you'll need the support from the likes of your girlfriend and perhaps even your employer. What's involved from a personal perspective?
It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of preparation. The weekends we normally spend doing fun stuff. I now do fun stuff on a bike, not together, but the children, they have to stay with my ex-wife. She'll take care of them. Everybody is joining in to help, and I know it's important for me because Lisbon really was important for me. I came back a much happier person, so they know it's good for me. So they are more than prepared to help me with that. So that's good. It really was a great experience. I can't tell you what happened, and it's also a bit of a dangerous because expectations for me are pretty high. Can we can we get the same atmosphere going and stuff? But it won't be the same, but it will be good. It will be good anyway. So we'll see.
No, listen, I'm just fascinated and really touched by how you're explaining the impact that the club's had on you, the impact that Lisbon's had on you, and of course you're 5 years older now, so it's the bones and the muscles are 5 years older, and I know fine well what that's like as well. It's your memory, your muscle memory of being able to go through these things isn't quite the same when you give it that length of a gap. So you've got a big undertaking, and whatever Seville means things to Celtic supporters. And of course, if you were about, I presume you didn't get to Seville yourself, or was that a trip you managed?
No, it was a little bit too early in my Celtic experience. I only once been to Celtic Park, and I knew, and afterwards, there was 80,000 Celtic supporters celebrating and stuff, and we won an award for the best supporters. If I could turn back time, I really would go. But at that moment in time, I didn't know how to get tickets and what was involved.
And do you remember the game? Do you remember that season?
Yeah, and I've watched it back. It hurts. It still hurts a bit, but the last one, the famous header, and it's the silly red card, and all. And also yesterday, I believe it was 20 years ago that we beat Liverpool to get to the half final. So I know, and that I followed it on TV. It was live, but I wasn't unable to go to Seville.
We get so many great memories of that season, and it's funny. I bought the DVD of the final, and I bought the match program of the final, and I flicked through the match program on occasion, but the DVD still get the wrapper on it. I've not been able to go to it. It's just
too painful.
And I remember when I was a kid, I was born in '67, and when I was a kid, there was cine film kicking about of the Lisbon game, and then when Betamax and VHS first came out, the game was in that, and countless times we watched the Lisbon final. We knew every minute of the copy that we had, Whereas the games that you lose, it's a completely different thing. And the Feyenoord defeating Lisbon, that Celtic team achieved huge things and lost to a very, very good Feyenoord team. But again, I've seen the goals from that game. I haven't seen another moment of it. Look now, the only thing I ever see from the Seville game itself is the goals. But we've got great memories. And even yourself, it was, 20 years ago, but no doubt you do remember sitting watching it as an embryonic Celtic supporter.
Yeah, correct. And I think the biggest part of the cyclists taking part this time were in Seville. So for them, it will be bringing back some great memories, of course. So that, really looking forward to their reaction. I must admit, when we went to Lisbon and we went to the Estadio Nacional on the 25th of May, there was like hundreds, maybe 1,000 plus people, green and white. It was something I never thought it would. There was no match being played. There was just celebrations because 50 years we won the big cup. It's still, when I think about it, I think more what was going on. It was one of the best days of my life.
Well, Gaubi, listen, it's been great to hear your participation in the Celtic community, how you got involved in it, and the sheer Celticness that oozes out of you. It's an absolute joy to hear it. I'm so proud that you've chosen to attach yourself to Celtic. You're a human being with a lot to give out there, and great that you did the Lisbon trip, and fantastic that you're doing the road to Seville. Take care of yourself. It's a big and daunting challenge. You've got many hard weeks of work ahead of you. But thank you very much for sharing your story. We'll do what we can to raise money for you among the Celtic community for your Road to Seville event. And thank you very much for sharing your story with us today.
Well, you're very welcome, Paul. Thank you for having me. And like you said, we hope to raise as much for the Celtic Foundation as we can, and hope to get to Seville safely as a group. So that's it.
Good stuff. Take care.
Thank you.